That's everyone runs
their business their own way.
Yeah, that's not a good impersonation. That is an insult. I don't fart, mate. Mark, come say bye. Bye, Mark.
Keep it simple.
Wait up.
What's going on, guys? I am SimpleSimon. Welcome to another episode of the NOOB Absolute Podcast. We broke our promise. We said we were going to try to do this once a month, and it's been 2 months since our last episode, so we're coming back with a bang. But before I bring on my co-hostess with the mostess, I forgot what I was going to say. So I'm just going to bring on my co-hostess with the mostess for the few people that are watching right now. This episode, I want to do this because people who really love what Mark and I love, hopefully this is going to be a good one. So, the few watching, if you need your keyboards, make sure you drop a hi Mark in the chat. Let's go.
Say hi, Mark. 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 Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
How are you?
I'm the hostess with the mostess.
That's right. Now, you've been gone for a month, and as much as I'd love to catch up,
I've been gone for a month.
He's been gone for over a month. Like, literally, when I made that post saying the honeymoon's over, I wasn't joking. Mark's been on his honeymoon for the last month. And as much as I'd like to ask you about it on this, we're getting together this Saturday. We're going to film the first episode of the NOOB for well over a month as well. And we'll talk about where Mark has been in the past 2 months, because we haven't filmed for like almost 2 months, I think. So
yeah, but
we'll do that this weekend.
But like I said to you off camera, you could have got someone else to hey, Jordan, how you going?
It's
you could have just got a guest. You could have got a temporary guest.
It's Mark or nothing. You're irreplaceable, mate. All right.
I know I'm irreplaceable, but the show must go on. Don't blame me for not being here. You're the one that didn't want to get his finger out of his ass and ask someone else.
Right. Well, firstly, before we start the chat, I'll just quickly shout out, keep on collecting new members. Thank you very much, boys. This one, we're going to show this one for you guys. Super chat, baby. Yeah. There you go. Thank you, guys. Ordinary Roy, another new member. Ordinary Roy loves Australia. We've got Jordan in the house. Andy, what's going on, mate? Oh, look, everyone's shown up for the alien talk. That's right. Hey, what are you talking about? All right.
That's right. No, I know there's no replacement. You better believe that. You better believe that shit, Hudson. All right.
One thing actually, I just want to say before we start this chat. Obviously, aliens has become a huge part of my channel in the past, I don't know, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 even, I don't know. But like the thing that really kicked it off, like the thing that really kicked off this love for aliens, like I've always loved the movie, but the thing that made me become almost obsessed with it was Mark. Because Mark, one day I was at the shop and he's like, check this out. And he showed me this thing, right? This Nerf blaster is really what got me obsessed with aliens. Because when I saw this, I was like, I never wanted anything more in my life than this Nerf blaster. And obviously, Mark, you got yours handy?
Yes, it's hang on. It's over here.
Do you want to bring it over so we can show people? Let's have a look. Shake that ass while you're back there. So that thing in Mark's hand is the same as this. His obviously looks cooler right now. But yeah, so when Mark first showed me that, I was like, oh my God, I need to have this in my life. Look at that. How good is it? So, how good is that? Yeah.
How good is that?
It is.
I love
So
this
that That was done by our friend Jin from Jin's Customs.
That's right. This was done by Jin.
I'm going to have one.
I've never done one before. And then you take the magazine out, slap it back in. That's it. There you go.
That's awesome. But that's really what. But buying that thing is really what kicked off my love for the Aliens franchise, or Alien franchise, I should say. Predator is better. I don't know. But maybe we'll get into that a little bit later as well. All right. So today's topic is tailor-made for my co-host here. And we're going to talk mainly about the first two films, but I mean, it will be an Alien chat in general. I guess I was going to call it the Alien Special. Well, that's good, Werewolf. You're going to be for the 50th time yet, so it's going to be fresh.
I've watched it over 1,000 times, I reckon.
It's got to be fresh. All right. So I guess the reason I wanted to do this episode as well, I recently watched the documentary Aliens Expanded. I had a few people recommend to me. What's going on, Dave? I had a few people. Hello, Mark. That's not how you say it.
You can say it however you want. Say it however you want, buddy. Just say however you want.
Yeah, a lot of people were recommending this. A lot of people were recommending this documentary to me, Aliens Expanded. It was like a crowd-funded documentary, but it has literally all the actors, from the big actors all the way through to like the minor Colonel Marines that were in the movie. And it was a 4.5-hour documentary. So it took me a few seconds to watch it, but it really sort of opened my eyes to, I guess, just the big players in this franchise. Because obviously Ridley Scott was the creator, but then James Cameron sort of took it and did so much with it. So and I know I didn't actually know this, but Mark was the one who actually taught me that that Ridley Scott really doesn't like what James Cameron did to his little creation.
Yeah, he thinks he owns it. He thinks he owns the franchise.
Well, okay, well, let's get into it. Let's start with the first movie. Ridley Scott directed it. Did he write it? Or was it based on? Okay, so it was based on a story that was already. Okay, that's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
So really, he just found what was it? A book, a novel, or science?
The original name for it was called, I think, Space Beasts. That was the original title on the script.
Imagine that. Imagine today's episode was Space Beast versus Space Beasts. Oh, get out of here, Sean. You're banned. Someone kick that guy.
No, you're pushing my buttons, buddy. Stop pushing my buttons. He knows my buttons. Don't worry, that guy.
Dan O'Bannon wrote it. There you go.
There you go.
So, I mean, well, if that's the case, so originally I want to call the episode something along the lines of, you know, who's more, is James Cameron or Ridley Scott more important to the franchise? I mean, because a lot of people look at it as Ridley Scott's creation as well. I think a lot of people don't take into account that it was based on a story already.
What, Aliens? Well, I think
first one.
I think it's. I think what Ridley Scott did, I think, I think it was his second film of directing a movie, and what he did with the script and what he did with the characters and what he did, he set up a great horror sci-fi. He started a genre, and I think like how he set up Ripley, and I think it was a great film. I like Alien, and
there's no denying.
Hey,
yeah, there's no denying the first one is good as well. Cameron bitched it up naming Ripley.
Yeah, I like that he brought in an artist to design the Xenomorph, from H.R. Geiger. So, it was a great move. And, these movies still hold up now, being that it's, it was pre-CGI. They're both fantastic films. Just, I think one was meant to be a solo film, to be honest, which was the first one, and I think the second one, James Cameron, I think took it to the next level. I mean, one of your friends described aliens as what did he say? What does do you remember how one of your friends describes Rambo 2? What does he usually say? It's Rambo 1.
It's the Stadium Rock. The Stadium Rock version of the franchise. Yeah. Which is a great description.
It's true. Yeah, so
Geiger is more important than both. That's a good. I mean, the design came from Geiger, obviously, right? So was the story originally?
But that's in the first film. No, Geiger was involved only in the first film. He was never involved.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. I find it interesting. Obviously, Decker here is more of a Alien fan over Aliens. I think the deleted scenes from Aliens is obviously took away, I think, a bit of the significance of having Newt and Ripley playing like a mother figure and things, because they kind of deleted that whole scene about her daughter being old. That's the special edition, isn't it?
Yeah, they deleted it for time.
Yes. But there's also the deleted scene from the first film where what's the dude's name when she finds him and he's all like cocooned. But there's something about that scene that because it's deleted scene, something about that scene basically defies everything else like of alien lore. I can't remember what it was though.
Well, in the first film?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the captain of the ship.
Dallas becoming an egg.
Dallas.
That's what it is.
Dallas was cooped up in the resin.
Yeah, but he's turning into an egg. I think I'm pretty sure that was it.
Well, where did you find that from?
They talk about it in Aliens Expanded.
Oh, do they?
But see, that's the thing.
I must have fallen asleep with that part.
If they left that in, then that would not make sense for the rest of it. Like the humans turning into eggs. I don't know. I don't know if I like that idea. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree with that. I totally agree.
Yeah, you can find
but
the
Dallas, but Dallas being not cocooned, but Dallas being I suppose Dallas being cocooned, showed you sort of like what they do with they don't kill them, they take them for hosts. So and I think I mean the both movies have got their own qualities. Both movies have a setup, I think both movies have their quality and their good and their bad part. Obviously,
yeah, and they're two completely different films.
Yes and no.
I think so. One is a horror film, while the second one is an action film.
Yes, but if you that's true. But the action film is both. It's got horror and it's got thriller. They go to the same planet. Yeah, they're completely different films, but they have the same elements. They go to the same planet. They need to, just like in the first one, she has to evacuate the ship, where they have to evacuate the planet. So it has the same elements. Both movies have same elements. You got a group of people. You got they find out they couldn't use weapons. It's just one of those. It's very structurally, it's very similar, but they have different elements. And the added element obviously is the Queen and the Hive element. How he adds that in, James Cameron adds the Hive element. Swaps around the whole, gives you that element of where about the company. So that's similar as well. So you have similar themes, but they're not obviously the same.
I think there's a lot more mystery in the first one, like
Absolutely.
the space jockey. Like nothing's really explained in the first one, which
Yeah,
some say
and you
is
don't have
kind of
to. I'm okay with it.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But that's what's kind of great about it, isn't it? Like when I rewatched, so when I obviously went crazy about it, I went and rewatched the whole Alien franchise. I hadn't seen the first movie for a long time, so I watched it, and I completely forgot about the space jockey scene. And that to me is my favorite scene because I'm just like, what is it? Like you don't know. It doesn't say anything. There's so much left to the imagination of what that thing was, and they didn't explain. They didn't explain where the eggs came from. So in saying that before, like, so I guess the original vision or idea was that the humans eventually become an egg. I mean, is that a better concept, or is it better that a queen lays them? Because to me, I like the queen idea.
That a queen lays them.
Yeah, I think that's a better idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like it's just one of those things. I think the cast was very well. The cast was very well put together, and it seemed like in the first film, it was like how they describe it, space truckers. They were very comfortable with each other. They were, you can tell that they've been together for a long time on a spaceship. Transporting, things in, mining, space mining. So, and then you have the space marine or the Marines, and again they had very distinctive characters. Same with the first film, very 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 distinctive. None of them were the same. You had you can tell them apart. The Marines and the space truckers, they were individuals. They weren't cookie cutter characters, which makes more of a better film.
The craziest thing was when I learned that what's his name? Is it James Remar? Is that his name? Who was supposed to be Hicks originally?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and they filmed with him, right? And I mainly know him from the Warriors, obviously, but the dynamic would have been, and I think they did talk about this when you see interviews with the cast, that the dynamic completely flipped on its head when Michael Biehn came in, because he had this more. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that James Raynor would have been more like the tough guy, tough guy, soldier guy, right? Well, Michael Biehn brought this real sort of soft-spoken sort of character. You know what I mean? He wasn't very laid back.
More of a human element. And I think they did that, like obviously the same thing they did with Back to the Future, right? So they some of the shots, I remember in that doco, there's some of the shots they still used with Raymar. So and also like how they took them away, the actors in Aliens, they took them away, and I mean they gave them their flak jackets, and they told them to personalize them. And
that's cool.
Yeah, Hicks or Michael Biehn was James Raymar's one, because he came in late and he didn't do that activity, so he had to use the one that was made for Hicks. So that was it. That was interesting. I didn't know that.
And there's still a shot. They used one shot, I think, that has Raymar in it. From the pine. Yeah.
Hudson was great, and he really. I mean, I think it was, Bill Paxton's character. I think Bill Paxton came out in that film. It pushed him further into making more movies after that, because he just fell into that role. He was so good in that film. And the character Vasquez and Drake and Apon and even the colonel. It was just a very good mesh of characters, and they
I
worked.
think
And that's
everything.
the same with the first film.
Yeah. So let's go back to the first film, because I know you mentioned, I don't know if you've mentioned it yet on the episode, but off camera before, he mentioned that you're not a big Ridley Scott fan. But I guess, can we just chat about what he did bring to the
I
first
am
movie?
no, well, I'm not a big fan lately. I'm a big fan
Yeah, what he, yeah.
of his early stuff, like Blade Runner and obviously Alien and Gladiator, and some of his other stuff that he's done. But lately, no, I'm not a fan of it lately. No, I mean he brought to that franchise. He brought a lot. He brought a lot, and I don't think I wouldn't say he's a gatekeeper, but he acts like he's the gatekeeper of that franchise. But he brought he to that franchise. He brought H.R. Geiger to the franchise. So that's one thing he brought to the franchise. He brought the element of horror and the element of the unknown. So he did he brought forth one of the all-time girl bosses. So he brought a lot to he did all that because I imagine, if it was called Space Beast, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
So tell me more about when you were first telling me about the whole Queen thing, and because I just feel like I would really like to know the original story that it was based on, and how much, because obviously things like the space jockey, that was a Ridley Scott thing, wasn't it? Like, wasn't that his vision of having that?
What was that? What?
Like I want to know the story that it was based on, and what changes that Ridley Scott would have made and brought to the film. Like I didn't even think, oh wait, he didn't write the thing originally. It's based on something else, and then obviously he brought his flavor to it, just like James Cameron brought his flavor when he did the sequel, right?
Well, it was an original script at the time of, obviously it was written after, or it was made after Star Wars, and you had other movies in the 70s, because of Star Wars, to make space epics. And so for them to do like a space horror, I mean, it was pretty innovative and forward thinking, so I think he just wanted to make it his own. I think he sort of obviously it's a complete opposite of what Star Wars did or what George Lucas did with Star Wars, but I still think it was the subject of the times, being Star Wars was a huge hit, and the studio sitting on another space script in space. So I reckon that was one of the elements that got it greenlit. Absolutely. So I don't know if it was based off anything but the script. I'm not sure if it was a book first. I don't think so. I think it's an original script.
Well, they were just saying before that, was it Dan O'Bannon wrote it?
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say? Well, what's crazy is when I watched that doco, James Cameron, it showed like James Cameron's previous film. At the time, he'd already done Terminator, I think, right?
That's right.
Sure
Terminator.
Sure he'd already done that.
Yeah.
But it showed some of the
right
other stuff he'd worked
Terminator.
on. It showed some of the other stuff that he worked on earlier. And it's just crazy to look at some of the other previous stuff he'd done. Look at the quality of it compared to what came out in Aliens. Like, that film still holds up today.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple of effects, maybe like a ship landing, crashing, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Could look better. But like just all the effects of the actual alien itself. Because in the first movie, it's a lot, you don't see it that much, right? It's like classic horror where you don't really see the thing that much until kind of like the end. And even then you don't see it that much. It's always in the shadows and things like that.
Yeah.
While the second one, I feel like you get a really good look. Like when they show the Queen, I'm like, man, that looks like a real legit thing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, James Cameron did Piranha. I think it was Piranha 2.
Piranha
I
3D.
think 3 and 3. I think it was Piranha 2. So I think it was something like that. And then he did Terminator. He was basically a visual effects guy.
Yeah, but just seeing the quality of like what he came from before. Like I think they were talking about there was some movie he worked on where they had to build like a little corridor hallway and he used like egg cartons and stuff like that. And it looked good, but I'm just talking like when you look at that film, it looks old. Like it looks like a real dead film.
Yeah.
And then you watch Aliens and it doesn't look like an old film, man. Like everything looks so good.
Yeah, I agree. You can. Both films. I think both films still hold up. Using the idea that Ridley had to use the old tech, but in a modern, put it into a modern era, like into the future. The green computer screens and the lights, all the lights in the computer room where Mother is. All those elements. It adds a little bit of element, not being holographic screens that come up like you see in Avatar, for instance. Like using practical effects like that, it makes it holds up. The movie holds up like that. I think it's because of those elements, and that's another thing that Ridley Scott put into the film was that kind of tech. Even the spacesuits, they looked old tech, and the design, H.R. Geiger's design of the space jockey, and like the face huggers, that he designed, and I think what Ridley Scott did was innovative, and like I said, you can't really do verses because they both directors brought different elements or their own elements to the film, and yeah, you can do. I suppose, of course, you can do verses, but it all comes down to who likes that movie more than the other. I like Alien, but I like Aliens more.
I like Aliens more too. And the way I break it down, and I get it, if you think Alien is a better film than the sequel, that's fine. The way I look at it is if I could only watch one, if I had to watch one of those films only watch one of those films for the rest of my life, I'd watch Aliens.
Yeah,
Alien to me, again, it's a different film, but it's a lot slower. It builds up a bit more. Aliens is you're going to go to the Stadium Rock show every day for the rest of your life rather than hanging out by yourself, listen to a CD.
Yeah, I mean, I think the character of Ripley is expanded in Aliens. Like James Cameron writes Ripley as into he just makes her more stronger, better.
Okay.
In a sense of taking her in her own taking her fear and not backing away from it. I think he took that character further. So I think it's a character arc between the two films. Instead of just doing a character arc in the one film, he did a character arc in both films. And I think Ridley Scott with Ripley was he didn't really give her much of a character arc. He just made her a person, a woman who who stuck to the rules, questioned everything. And then in the end, she ended up beating the alien. She was still scared shitless, which you would be, of course. But I don't think he gave her much of a character arc. Whereas I think James Cameron, what he did was he started her there where Ridley Scott ended her. Where that movie ended. Where Ripley ended in Alien, that's where James Cameron took her further. That he gave her more of a character arc.
Yeah, so in the first film, she's kind of like trying to get the rest of the crew to take her seriously, right? She's not really like a leader, but in the second one, I mean, she kind of establishes her badassery right from the beginning with the power loader, right? I feel like that moment very early on in the film, you know, that they take us pretty seriously. When she gets in the power loader, she's like, "Where do you want me to put it?" or whatever. Like, I feel like that shows them straight away.
Again,
This chick's serious.
A character arc, and even when Vasquez, says to her, just tell me where they are, she goes, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. It's just a down transmitter, because one of those things, wiped out my entire crew. So she's even in that part, she's sort of like in transition of changing characters, like getting stronger, I suppose. And, you could say that her experiences, the argument would be her experiences from the first film. If she didn't have those experiences from the first film, she wouldn't be the person she is in the second film. But that's the character arc, that Cameron took her on. And I think it was well done. I think it wasn't forced. It was natural, So, I think he did well with Ripley. I think in both movies, Ripley is portrayed really, really well. Even the way she speaks to Ash, and how in the first film, and how you can see where it's going with Ash, and I just really I loved her in Alien, but in Aliens, they just took her a bit further.
She's iconic in Aliens, mate.
Oh, she is. Gave us one of the best delivered lines in Hollywood history. And the same with Star Wars, like it's one of those iconic lines, like what Lucas gave us. So it's you got to give him that a bit. You got to give that credit to Cameron for that.
I think he really thought it through. Like, so again, in that documentary, a lot of the actors, and like they interview actors, like, or even all the small roles, right? And they're like, James Cameron, if you walked into his office, he was like an artist, apparently. So he had like full storyboards. Like, he drew the power loader, like before the power loader was even made. He drew it like exactly how it ends up looking in the movie. He draws all these storyboards, and they're like, man, like he literally all around the walls were just like the movie in pen drawn on a piece of paper. Like, but yeah, I think he really thought it through. And I think he said in that film, like, because he's in the documentary obviously as well, and I believe he said that like after Aliens, he never wanted to, because Aliens, he kind of took it as like he was a director for hire kind of thing, right? Hey, come in and do this. And he was like, after that film, I was never going to do that again. I'm only going to make films that are mine, sort of thing. And he really came in to the Alien brand, kind of just made his mark and said, "See ya."
But didn't he say like he one of the when I asked him to do that film, he said, "I'm only do it if I can write it."
Oh, is that okay? Maybe yeah.
And
okay.
I think so. I'm pretty sure. And then I think, and then he acknowledges obviously what Ridley Scott did, but he wanted to expand on it. So I think the alien soldiers are a different design than Big Chap.
So I've got something prepared to talk about that. So I've actually got an image here with the original Xenomorph known as Big Chap, and the aliens Xenomorph known as the Warriors, is the Alien Warrior, I think they call it. Now, to the untrained eye, they look pretty similar, but I'll let you break it down, Mark.
So, well, this is more of an alien. So the one in Alien was designed by H.R. Geiger. Obviously, it was a suit that a man was based on. They only made one, or they made a couple, but there was only going to be one on screen at the time. Whereas the second one, as you can see, they made it more conventional for multiple people to be wearing them, because I think they made like a multiple obviously they made multiples because a lot more they had stuntmen inside them. So they had to make the head smaller a little bit. As you can see in Alien, the Alien designed one. There's more. You can see the skull. You know, like it was a see-through.
Yes. Well, that's the biggest change, I think. Having the transparent. I didn't really know that up until I got back into Aliens, and I never really noticed it until I saw it on toys. I was like, wait, has it always had a transparent skull? And then in the movie, you do see it.
I didn't know that either. To be honest, I didn't know that either. I don't know. I like both. I like both designs. You got to have different. I suppose you got to have different species. I don't mind either one. I'm not fussed.
If you look at the Aliens one, if you look at it upside down, it's actually more phallic than the first one.
It's more what?
You know, it's more penis-like than the original, which is what Geiger was all about.
Yeah, absolutely. It was if you ever seen the inside of a facehugger, like the reverse side of a facehugger. Yes. So it was all about that. Yeah, it was also very sexual. Yes, absolutely. But that, that's the difference. So, Now,
did you say you had some notes that you sort of took note of, like comparing things in the first two
movies? I've been going through them as we've been talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like we had even the androids were, in the first film you had Ash, and he turns out to be pretty bad, pretty horrible man or horrible robot. But then what James Cameron does with his android, he it was like you're wondering, like, is this guy going to be like in the first film? He keeps you guessing, until the very last scene.
And it turns out he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, right. So I think that was really, really clever. To play on that. And again, he uses what Ridley Scott did. So what Ridley Scott did, I say, I'm gonna do this because but I'm gonna keep him guessing. So I thought that was great. I thought it was brilliant.
So
did Bishop was a great character.
So did Ridley Scott only ever plan on making that first movie? Did he not? Like, why wasn't he given the option to do the sequel?
I don't know why they didn't give him the option.
Because it almost feels like he made the first movie, which is a classic. They make a sequel. They're like, oh, maybe I can't remember. They do. I'm pretty sure they touch on it, but like, obviously James Cameron does it, puts his twist on it, and you said Ridley Scott hated it, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel like Ridley Scott was like, no, I want to come back and put my stamp on it, leave my stain on the franchise. Well, and then when he came back to
see how much he hates it. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know why they didn't go to him. I don't know. I have no idea why they didn't go back to him and to do a sequel. I have no idea. If anyone knows in the comments, please put it down in the comments. But I have no idea why they didn't go to him. I think it may have been he was doing another movie. Who knows? Scheduling. But it was no. Everyone knows that he didn't like the whole, Queen, because look what he did with Prometheus, and even with Romulus. He couldn't even go. He did Romulus straight up, in the timeline of the movies. Before Aliens, so
he didn't do Romulus.
Yeah, I think it's notable that he doesn't want to go that way, like the whole Queen.
He didn't do Romulus.
I know, but you can see that he produced it, so you can see that where he wants the franchise to go. He's producing Alien Earth as well. So
Alien Earth looks, in my opinion, it looks good. The recent Predator movie is rubbish. Hot take. I don't know about that. Well, are you talking about the animation or are you talking about Prey? I actually thought they were both good. I feel like those franchises, have better than they've, like, put it this way. Alien and Predator are two of the biggest franchises ever. And there's no good movies coming out. There's like 2 good movies in the whole franchise.
And also, like, they just can't come up with anything original. these days. But that's for another show.
That's a good one. So Scott was never approached to direct Aliens, and he later said, "I didn't want to do it anyway."
Yeah, right. Yeah, what a load of junk. Yeah, but he ended up doing Prometheus. Yeah, and the other one.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the franchise became so big. He was like, "Oh, I want to come back and and leave my stamp on it."
Yeah, what a load of shit.
Prey was great, by the way, guys. Just so you know in the chat there.
Yeah, I mean, look. So what do you take from? Tell me what you take from. Like
I think that everything that Cameron did was flawless. I think if Ridley Scott only did the first film, I feel like him coming back to it and all the stuff he did later on hurts his legacy towards the franchise. I just don't enjoy. Like I love the mystery of the space jockey. Like I love the space jockey, right? But like, and I love that he tried to explain, the space jockeys were engineers, and then some people, no, it doesn't mean that they were engineers. He clearly tried to make the engineers the space jockey. That is clear as day. You cannot tell me. Some people are like, no, they're not. Doesn't mean they're the same. It just happens to be the same suit. No, he's trying to say that the space jockeys were engineers, which doesn't make sense to me because of the proportions and the size.
Well, why would they? But the thing is, like, he tries to say that they created life on Earth, but then they want to come back and destroy Earth. Work that out. I never understood that. I just don't understand I just don't understand that premise. I mean, I liked Prometheus. I kind of liked it. It had great scenes. It had great horror scenes. It was well, like all Ridley Scott's films. They're all framed beautifully. They're all rendered beautifully. They're all colored beautifully. He's a great director. But I think the black goo for me. Like, I don't know, like it just lost me. I don't like it.
So when Prometheus came, I too agree that Prometheus is a good film, right? So when I first watched Prometheus, I didn't know, I wasn't alien crazy back then, right? So I heard that it was related to aliens, but there were some people that weren't sure. They're like, oh no, I think it's an alien film. Some people were like, no, it's not. It's not related to aliens. So I'm watching it thinking it's not an aliens film. And then throughout the movie, like when you first see those weird snake things, I'm like, oh wait, is this an alien film? And we kept going. I was like, nah, this ain't an alien film. And then at the end, I was like, oh, this was an alien film. I did like Prometheus, but was it Covenant where they had like a little tiny Xenomorph come out of him? Was that Covenant? Because that was it.
Say that again.
I could have sworn I saw your face hugger in the background move just then, but
yeah, right.
Is it Covenant where they have like a little baby Xenomorph burst out of him? Like they try to do like that's wrong.
Nah,
and that's Ridley Scott. What?
That's crazy. That was in Covenant. Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking, to be honest. Like,
I think his ideas are just a little bit too much with the newer stuff. Where alien comes out of his back. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's after sniffing some they hit like a plant, and all this stuff comes out, this mist, and that's how he gets infected. And then an alien comes out of his back. I mean, what?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. One of my mates who was over the other night, he's a big fan of the franchise too. And I asked him if he'd seen the Alien Earth trailer, and he was like, nah. And he goes, yeah, sorry. He said yes. And he goes, nah. I was like, you're not excited? He goes, nah, you know what? He goes, us fans just want to see traditional Xenomorphs in a film tear shit up. He's like, that's all I want to see. I was like, I like things that expand on the lore, though.
Yeah, I do too. And so do you know where it sits in the timeline?
Alien Earth. I think it's got to be it's before everything. It's
Yes.
because in the trailer they talk about the first
Before
synthetic.
the trauma. Yeah. Yeah. So
I'll tell you why I'm excited about it. Right. So, firstly, 5 creatures from the darkest corners of the universe. A, sounds cool, right? B, I have a feeling that predators are going to be in there because in the trailer they say something about these creatures being predatory, and there's a scene where you can hear what sounds exactly like a predator. So I reckon these things coming out, Alien, Earth, and also Predator. Is it Badlands? Is that the ones coming out?
yeah.
I think. I mean, because Weyland Yutani is obviously in the new Predator film, and there's a synthetic in there. So I think Alien, Earth, and the new Predator movie are gonna bring those worlds together again. But I just feel like man, like the AVP movies. I know someone said earlier that they like it, and that's fine. There's things about AVP that were good. Again, the things they explained about the lore, like how they dropped the Yautjas off on the alien planet and they defend for themselves, is like that's cool. But just the movies were really poorly executed. They were just bad. And that last Predator film, what was it just called? The Predator? Man, like I couldn't believe I haven't even seen it all yet because I couldn't make it through. Like these two franchises have such bad films. Like for a franchise that's so big, there's nothing really good coming out of there for the last 30 years.
And that's why Alien and Aliens are so good because they withstand the test of time, both of them. You know, like so. Do you remember the first time you remember the first time you saw Alien?
I don't remember. I would have been a kid because my brothers used to show me movies I shouldn't have been watching back in the 80s. So I used to see boobs and stuff like that when I was like 5 years old. But no, I can't say I remember. I'd imagine you remember because you would have been in like your 40s when it came out.
Fuck off.
Okay, tell me about the first time you saw Predator. I'm sorry, Alien.
Well, I saw Aliens first.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yep. I might have too because I definitely know.
So I remember I was at I don't know, it would have been what is it 84. I would have been 12 or 13, maybe 14 years old. And I remember I was at summer holidays in a caravan park, and they had like a temporary movie theater set up in their town hall. And I went on my own, you know, like to go watch this movie called Aliens. And I sat down and I'm watching it and I'm going, I think this is a sequel. I sort of worked out this was a sequel to that movie that my uncle really likes, Alien. So after watching now, I watched Alien. I think I borrowed it on VHS when I could. I can't remember when exactly how old I was, but I was right, obviously. So my first that was my first time that I saw in that franchise. But I loved Alien as well. But I loved Aliens even more. It was just so good, you know, in my impressionable mind.
Yeah, so I remember as a kid, I used to spend a lot of weekends at my brother. So my brothers had different dads, right? So I used to get they were like my babysitters sometimes, and they were like all in their teenage years while I was a little kid. But they used to just like back then used to watch the same movie over and over, right? Like I can't do that anymore. But back in the day, you would just you would watch the same movie, and it was like a highlight of your day to watch that movie again.
But that was the beauty of renting it on VHS, you know, or the rental. I mean, you can do it on streaming now. You can watch movies over and over again. But I think with VHS, having you would borrow it for 5 days or a week or 3 nights, and you would want to get your money worth out of it. So you watch it over and over again. You know, watch it, end credits, rewind, put it on again, like over. And I think I've seen I've seen Alien, and I've seen Alien so many times. When I watch it now, I fall asleep because I've seen it so many times. I know it off by heart. I can't watch it with Nina because I mouth the words and she gets annoyed. I don't blame her. You know, I speak the lines before they even come out. And like I used to come home after work. I used to work nights. I'd come home, 6 in the morning or 4 in the morning, and I put it on just so I can fall asleep. You know, and now if I watch it, I'll just fall asleep anyway. It's always the same spot too. It's always the spot with Newt. When it
you're gonna hang out with my brother.
That part of the film where it slows down.
Yeah, you're gonna have to meet my brother one day because he is a living movie quote. He will just quote movies out of nowhere, man. Like it's crazy.
I used to do that. I used to do that a lot with my friends that my friends that never watched movies, and I lost them pretty quick. They're no longer my friends.
Had to cut them off.
No, they cut me off because I was too much quoting.
Don't hang out with that Marco. He's crazy. He thinks he's Ellen Ripley.
Just quote every movie. Just movies. Just quote movies.
Aliens define the
franchise. That's what Aliens did to that. It made it a franchise because of Aliens. Because of Aliens, you got Alien 3, and then you got Resurrection, and you got the rest of the franchise. You got Ridley Scott doing his thing. So, of course, absolutely defined a franchise.
I just think that James Cameron's what he added was just more well thought out and a little bit more subtle. I feel like Ridley Scott was reaching to try to figure out how can I explain the space jockeys. Like his ideas were, I think, too out there, too much of a change, while James Cameron's little changes were just little subtle, make sense. Oh, they've got eggs. Where do the eggs come from? Oh, well, eggs get laid by something normally, right? We've got to have a queen that lays eggs. That makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
correct. I mean, why would you fill a whole ship full of eggs and not show, and obviously then we were all wondering where the eggs came from, and I think that laying them, doing that was perfect. So I think he elaborated more on the lore, absolutely. And I think part of me sometimes I always tell people, like, oh, Ridley Scott doesn't like what James Cameron did because he didn't think of it first, That's what I always say that, right? So that's right. It's true. Aliens is a fun action film, and it has its horror and its thrilling and its thriller scenes, but predominantly it's an action film. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I say that's why I prefer it, because that's why I say that if I had to watch one every day for the rest of my life, it'd be Aliens, because I think it's just got more entertainment factor than the first. The first one. The first time you watch it, or if you haven't watched it in a long time, it's good because you feel the suspense, you feel the thrills, you feel the scares. But once if you watch that every day, it's no longer exciting.
I mean, like what James Cameron did with the movie, before there was an Alien 3, Dark Horse were making Alien comics, and in one of the story, I think it was Mark Verderheim who wrote it. He makes out that the space jockeys were a telepathic race.
They were like elephant people, weren't they? Didn't they look like elephant people?
Yeah.
You read that, have you?
Yeah, and that they were enemies of the alien, of the Xenomorph, and they were trying to eradicate them. And there was one story where they offer. Where they meet Ripley, and they ask Ripley if she wanted to go, if she wants to go to the alien homeworld and destroy them. It was great. Look, it was that's how you expand a story, a character, a lore, a franchise. And then we got Alien 3, and it just went downhill after that.
Yeah, because the Aliens comic, the original one, that was expanding from the sequel, Aliens sequel, wasn't it? Like that had Hicks and Newt. I read it briefly, but it was very wordy, so I couldn't keep up.
Well, to begin with, to be honest, in the original, They, for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know what the reason was. You know, bureaucrats, they couldn't use the name. They couldn't use the names Hicks, or they couldn't use the name Newt. Right? They could use Ripley, but they couldn't use Hicks. So they were someone else. They named them someone different. But when you were reading it, you knew who they were. You knew they were Hicks, and you knew they were Newt. But then when the re-release back in 2000 and maybe 2018, maybe they did a re-release of him, and they changed the names to Ripley and to Hicks and Newt. So that was weird. That was very strange that they couldn't use it. I don't know why. So
Ridley Scott keeps creating questions. James Cameron just answers. That's good.
Yeah,
change the genre.
Correct. Yeah, it's no, it wouldn't have worked. You're right.
Yeah, of course. But again, I feel like Ridley Scott, if he just did the first film and then just never touched it again, I just feel like he would have a better legacy to it. It was just he did what he did, and there was a lot of mystery to it, and that was great. It was cool.
Yeah,
I just think what he attributed later is just I don't know, man. It's just overthought. A lot of it.
Overthought.
Like the engineers, I don't know, man. It's not my thing. But I love the comic book idea of what you were just telling me about.
It's great. And even they even expand on Hicks and Newt and their character. So you know, it's amazing how, you know, there are comic books that are all made off the Aliens franchise and not the Alien movie. Even, you know, back then, like in the but even though now that Marvel own the franchise, 20th Century Fox, they own Alien and Predator, but with Alien, their comic book, it's named Alien, not Aliens, but it still has the element of James Cameron's Aliens with the Marines and I suppose it has elements of both, to be honest, of both movies, with the androids and the colonists and the Marines, and so it has elements of both, I suppose. You know,
I just want to. We've reached an hour, so I think maybe for the last half hour we can move off the first two movies and just discuss Aliens in general for a bit. Before I just shout out Steve's question here in the chat, I just want to shout out everyone who's watching. I've never had a live stream that had so many viewers. for about 30 seconds before, there was 50 viewers. That doesn't happen. So thank you for everyone. I'm guessing
because of me. It's because of me, buddy.
It's because of Mark. Because of Mark's return. It's either Mark's return or YouTube's pushing this out to just people who love aliens and who have no idea who we are. So thank you for anyone who's new to the channel. We appreciate it. Well, Neil Blomkamp.
To answer Steve's question, can I answer Steve's question?
You can, but I have a lot to say.
Blomkamp's, what I heard was that after Ridley Scott told him, after I'm done with my films, we will do your films, your Alien. And the premise that I heard was he was going to do Alien 3 and Resurrection, sort of like a dream sequence.
Yeah. Right? So they didn't really happen. He was gonna erase them from canon.
Yes, he was talking
about putting your stamp on the franchise. Yeah, by the way, those third and fourth movies, that didn't happen. This is how it goes. And man, like, Hicks was going to be in it. Newt was going to be.
Obviously, we still want. So what have you got to say about it?
Man, firstly, Neil Blomkamp directed probably two of my favorite films in the last 20 years, because those films are pretty old now. District 9 is definitely one of my favorite films of all time. And look, his films are very similar, obviously. Like Chappie is very similar. What's the other one with fucking Jason Bourne? What's his Elysium. They're all kind of similar films, but man, that dude can make a sci-fi film. And I don't know if you've watched many videos on the Blomkamp aliens. thing. So there were storyboards that were actually made that were supposed to be visions for his movie. And there's one shot where it was like meant to be Ripley facing off against the Queen, but Ripley's in this Xenomorph like suit, which is so Neil Blomkamp, right? Like that is so Neil Blomkamp to do something like that. Like I just think that is sorry.
Keep going.
I just think that his movie, the fact that it's never going to be made now, might be one of the biggest tragedies that this franchise will ever face, because that guy can make a movie.
Yeah, he had storyboards and everything, like filled out. Like I was following him on Insta, so yeah, he was pushing out the storyboards and the artwork as well. So that was it. That was interesting. Like it would have been. I was really excited about that, but instead we got Ridley Scott flexed his muscles and said, "No, it's all mine. There's no touching. I'm no."
Yeah,
and probably heard the story about doing the whole alien queen. He said, "No, I don't do that. No."
Neil Blomkamp would have been like, "So there's a bit where Ripley jumps into a Xenomorph suit and fights a queen, and Ridley Scott's like."
Queen?
Hey,
what? No, Queen. It's black goo. Dude, change it to black goo and we've got a deal.
Well, why can't we continue with the timeline of Resurrection? I think it's because now look, when I saw Alien 3, I saw it at the cinemas when I was younger. I didn't have that same feeling as the rest, because again, I liked Aliens, but I wasn't like a fanboy, right? I just liked the Aliens movie. And I guess I was a little bit disappointed that there was no Hicks in there, but I didn't think of things that way back then. I was young. You, again, who would have been 50 at the time when that came out, you were super upset, right? The fact that those characters are killed off straight away, right? You doing that to me or Finch?
I don't know. I'm doing what? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
But yeah, like, were you?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you remember seeing the movie?
Absolutely. I was pissed. I think that was my first movie disappointment. I reckon I can vividly remember that. I said, I remember the confusion in that movie. The confusion of where does this face hugger come from? Like, where did the face hugger come from? Like the face hugger that went onto the dog. We're talking about cinema release, right? Not the special edition. Like we're watching it at the movies. The face hugger that sits on the dog. Where did that come from? I know where it came from now, but can you tell me where it came from? Do you know?
It wasn't on the ship with them.
Right. Okay. But how did one get into Ripley?
I don't know.
Correct. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, there was two face huggers? What, in one egg? Two face huggers in one egg? How does that work? I thought that was a shit concept. And how the hell did the Queen get onto the Sulaco to put an egg? When did she have time to do that?
So I think the problem was obviously Finch did exactly what the other guys kind of did, because he's a big director, right? And he was just like, the reason he killed off Hicks and A, because he's like, I want this to be my movie.
Who said that?
Finch, who directed the third one.
No, he was.
He killed them off because he wanted it to be his. He's like, I don't give a shit about those guys. I'm making this my movie. So your characters and coast suck a dick.
Actually, no. You're incorrect.
No?
Actually, it was the studio. It was all studio. No. He had no say in it. Even though they sacked him even before the movie was finished, and they brought someone else in to edit it. And that's why later on they released the director's cut, and it was he cut it, and that's the way he cut it. So he didn't even edit it. It was they did a Joss Whedon on him. with Zack Snyder.
David Fincher hated making the movie.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought when I watched Resurrection back in the day, I thought it was great. And then when I rewatched it once it became Alien fanboy, I was like, whew, how did I ever like this film? But when I first watched it, I really enjoyed it back when I was like working a Blockbuster back in the day. But yeah, when I rewatched it, man, the acting is so bad. And here's the thing, Alien 3, I think, is underrated. I think the story in Alien 3 is actually pretty good. It's not necessarily not what we wanted. But the
David
story
Fincher had no. Yeah, he's right. David Fincher had no say. It was Ripley. Ripley wanted to make a movie with no weapons. Not Ripley. Sigourney Weaver she produced the film. She wanted a movie with no weapons. It was David Fincher's first film, so he was a yes sir, right? Yes sir, no sir. I felt like it being his first film in a major Hollywood studio. So he had no say whatsoever. He followed the script and that's it. And yeah, so it was a bad experience. It would have been such a bad experience. He had studio execs on set telling him, do it like this or do it like that. Like, telling him how to direct. So,
so Sigourney Weaver
yeah, would have been. That's why the movie came out the way it is.
So she said she wanted to do a movie with no weapons and no hair.
No hair. And she wanted to kill Ripley. That was her point. She wanted to kill her. Her idea was to kill Ripley.
She comes back for the fourth one. And then she comes back for the fourth one
because they paid her a shitload of money.
But was she like, but I'm dead? And they're like, but $15 million. She's like,
you're a clone. Get this. You're a clone. Huh? Number 8. You're Ripley number 8.
The true actors can be like, no, it doesn't make sense. Like there's a lot of actors that would be like, that wouldn't make sense. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but that's when you got to flash money at them. They've got to keep up their lifestyle. Some of them own castles, mate. You got to keep up that mortgage.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. It's true. It is true. They gave Ripley an ending, absolutely, and that's what she wanted. But studio execs, they get they look at the dollar and they get like all gooey inside because they want to make more money. They can't come up with anything original, So it's just one of those. It's just one of those films where you can watch it. It's definitely watchable. But
are we talking about the fourth one again? I got to admit, the scene where they're swimming in the water in Resurrection is actually very cool. Still,
I like that scene as well. And when the way they pop out of the water and they shoot them.
And I don't know if it's Ron. What is Ron Perlman in that one?
Yeah.
Is he I don't know if it's his character, but one of the characters, they're on the ladder and then they hang upside down and start shooting. I'm pretty sure that's that movie.
Yeah.
There is some, you know what? Maybe I should. I just remember last time I rewatched it, the acting was so bad. I just couldn't believe it. Something I wanted to bring up, just about the deleted scenes again. So Sigourney Weaver apparently. Sorry?
With Resurrection, it's the ending, the child and the alien queen giving birth. And all that.
That's like
correct.
That's that. And look, it's almost like Alien Romulus copied that ending.
Again,
because Alien Romulus was a great film, I thought, up until that last part. And I was like, didn't need that, I don't think.
Yeah, anyway, you were saying?
So apparently Sigourney Weaver didn't know about how, because obviously they all see the film for the first time. And when she saw that they cut out the scene of her seeing her daughter at the start, she was mega pissed because she didn't know. Apparently she was really pissed off about it.
What, from Aliens?
Yeah.
They cut that for time. That's the only reason why they cut that.
But apparently, she was mega pissed. She was like, "What the?" She's like, "That makes So, and it does make so much more story sense to the
It does.
story.
And that's why people prefer that's why now people prefer the special edition. Absolutely. I've got so many, I've had so many copies of Aliens over the, you know, I've got the quadrilogy on Blu-ray. I bought it on DVD, box set. I bought the American. I bought the one from America. I bought the one from Australia. I've got so many versions of that. That it's just and that Blu-ray quadrilogy comes with Ridley Scott's director's cut of Alien. You know, the director's cut, all the director's cuts of all the.
What does that have the deleted scenes in it as well?
Yeah.
We'll go back and watch it and watch Dallas turn into an egg.
I will. Don't worry. I want to see him turning into an egg.
I have Aliens, and Alien 3 on Laserdisc in my cabinet over here. Laserdisc.
Yeah.
I recently purchased, I haven't picked them up yet, but I recently purchased Alien and Aliens on VHS, the Japanese editions. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Of Aliens?
Yeah, Japanese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Have you watched them?
No, I haven't picked up. There's a store here called Video Days, and they she specializes in VHS, and I saw her post them, and I messaged her and I said, "Hey, I'll prepay for those now, but I don't know when I can pick them up." So I bought. She had all 4. I was gonna buy all 4, but they were more expensive than I thought, so I only bought 1 and 2. But hopefully, if I buy 1 and 2, no one else will touch 3 and 4, and eventually I'll get those 2. But either of you played Alien Isolation? No, that's the first person one. I haven't played that. I heard it's good. I did play Alien.
Is it first person? Is it first person?
I think Alien Isolation is like the scary. Yeah.
With her daughter, with Ripley's daughter.
You know what we should do? You didn't have a PS5, do you? Do you have a PS5? No. Damn it! No. So I bought a game called Aliens. It's called something like Fire Team Elite or something like that. I bought it because it was Aliens, and I was like, "Oh, I'll play." It might be on PS4. I can't remember. But anyway, I put it in my PlayStation, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll see what this is like." And it's literally you're a Marine and you go around blasting aliens. I was so shit at it, but you can play online. How good would it be if we did a stream and me and you were cruising around as Marines? I think that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a PS5, mate.
Well,
we can't all be millionaires on YouTube making money.
Well, we'll keep everyone. Big City Comic T-shirts are available. Keep buying those shirts, and we'll get Market PlayStation. That's right, a laser disc. All right. All right. We've got about 15 minutes left before we wrap it. So tell me your thoughts on Alien Earth, because I was really excited about it. I'll tell you why I was excited as well. So you watched the trailer, yeah?
Yeah.
Even though you're a non-trailer watching person.
I watched one trailer. One trailer.
Like the proper trailer, though, right? Not the stupid teasers they've been releasing for the last half a year.
No, I just watched the teasers.
No. They recently released the proper trailer.
No, well, I haven't seen it, no.
You didn't see it?
No.
If I play it now, I might get a copyright claim and lose. Oh, you know what?
I'll
watch it with you after the stream. But basically, I think it looks great. If anyone in the chat wants to chime in on, it's the game where you're hiding from. Yeah, that's kind of first person, is it? Or VR? Yeah, it's kind of first person though. You're hiding.
Yeah, it's with her. Yeah, it's with her daughter, I think. And if you make like a single noise, the Xenomorph comes after you.
A live reaction.
A live reaction.
Should we do that?
No, you might get copyright, dude, because 20th Century Fox is really tight on it.
Well, I'm just thinking, I did a members only reaction video to it, and that didn't get any restrictions. Normally, you get like a little thing saying, yeah, even though it's members only, I'm pretty sure you can still get copyright claims. I didn't get one for that. Anyway,
look, I'd rather be surprised. I mean, because of the recent Alien movies that have come out, Alien, Romulus and Prometheus. I'm not that excited, no. And to put it on Earth, for my opinion, to put it on Earth, you got a whole universe expanded universe everywhere. Like you've gone out into the universe, into the planets, into the universe, and you want to put it on Earth. I think that's
Put it this way.
silly.
Yeah, I know, but like if this is the prequel, this is like this is the earliest in the timeline, isn't it? I mean,
I thought Romulus was a prequel.
Romulus is set.
I thought Prometheus was a prequel. I thought Covenant was a prequel.
Romulus is set after Alien. I think between Alien and Aliens. I think. So, but yes, I'm excited. I'm excited about the new creatures that are going to be in this. There's this weird eye tentacle thing. Oh, it looks so trippy, man. We're going to watch it after we finish this live here. Seeing other creatures. Yeah, exactly right. Like, I'll tell you why I'm excited about it, right? So there's a bit in the trailer where they've got a little scorpion, just a scorpion in this little jar or whatever. And the guy's saying, "Oh, how's my girl?" And in the alien so the alien Kenner figures that I collect, all of them came with like a little comic book. And all the alien xenomorphs are kind of based on some sort of animal. There's a gorilla, there's a scorpion, there's a praying mantis. I don't know how the hell that thing got impregnated, but there's all these different animals, and I think that's a cool kind of concept. And essentially, that's what the xenomorph is, right? Like Alien 3, the xenomorph's a dog, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I think the new trailer looks sick, and I really think that the franchises, both Alien and Predator, are just heading in a good direction for the first time in a long time. It's set 2 years before Alien. Okay, only 2 years. Okay, I thought it was going to be much. Romulus is after. Oh, is it after Alien? Okay, I thought it was in between.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I thought it was in between the first and the second.
It is.
I think. Oh, come on, man. You can't just make a bold statement like that and then say, "I think." Romulus. There you go. There you go. I rest my case. All right. I guess. All right. Well, I guess to finish up, hang on. This is basically putting more lore.
It's like
aliens.
It's like what I've been saying about Alien versus Predator, the two films. You have a whole universe to play with. Out there, and you put Alien versus Predator on Earth. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
This is what doesn't make sense, right? Whenever there's a versus film, Alien versus Predator, Freddy versus Jason,
Batman versus.
There's one thing that doesn't like, and the worst one was Alien versus Predator. I'll tell you why, because the tagline for AVP was, "No matter who wins, we lose," as in the humans lose. And the movie ends, you're like, we didn't lose. We didn't lose. What are you talking about? We should have lost. You fucking guaranteed that we were going to lose, and we didn't lose. So,
what I'd love to see a mashup of Alien or Predator versus the Punisher. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, see, I don't want those in movies anyway. Keep those in comic books, right?
One thing. Do you see Big City Comics? You see Big City Comics? That's what I want to see. I want to see Punisher versus a Predator. That's what I want to see.
Batman versus Predator, like the comic.
I love that. Batman versus Predator is awesome. Not this Spider-Man versus Predator bullshit.
So in the new Predator trailer, not the animated film that came out, but the Badlands, which is coming out later in the year, there's a shot of inside the ship and all the trophy wall, right? And there's a skull on there that looks like the Independence Day aliens.
Yes, yeah. Fan service. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that.
And there's a T-Rex.
So
there's a T-Rex.
You're going to try and join those universes too. You're going to
bring back Will
those
Smith.
universes
Will Smith.
too.
Will Smith will come into the Alien franchise and slap a xenomorph.
slap everyone. He's going to slap all those aliens.
Hang on, I'm missing. What am I missing here? Wait, who's the All right. Thanks, Steve, for dropping in. Again, if anyone's new to the channel, because I feel like there's only way that there were 50 people watching this at one time was that this got pushed out into the algorithms of aliens people. So yeah, not that we talk about aliens a lot, but we kind of do as well. All right. Maybe maybe we should do a Predator one. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we love the sound of our own voices, so
we've done an episode of the new Rebirth, I think, on Predator, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the animated film and just the big reveal at the end. I would love to hear your thoughts on where it could go.
Yeah, maybe.
And you don't mind watching animated stuff? You
What is
like
it gonna?
animated things?
Yeah, I'll watch it, of course. I watched the Terminator one that's on Netflix.
Oh, is that good? I watched the first couple of episodes and it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I liked it. Again, it's got to further the franchise, make it better. Better than the next one. It's got to be progression. That's what makes a good sequel.
The reveal in Killer of Killers, is like one of the biggest reveals. Like it's such a big detail about the lore. It's huge.
Okay. Is Batman in it?
Batman is not in it. Unfortunately for you.
Bugger.
All right. Well, maybe we'll start getting ready to wrap it up. We nearly hit the 90-minute mark.
So verdict. What's the verdict?
Oh, the verdict.
What's the
James,
verdict? Come on.
I think James Cameron, in his one little stint in the Alien franchise, did more for the franchise than Ridley Scott.
Oh yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
And I'm not mad at all.
Drop your linen.
I'm not mad at all if you prefer the first movie. Plenty of people prefer the first movie. I just think for rewatchability, Aliens is the better film.
Nah, man, sorry.
But they're two completely different films too, so it's hard to compare two completely different films. And then, other than those two films, the rest of the franchise suck.
I mean, look, I like them. I like Aliens more, of course, but I like Alien for what it is too. And I like that it's part. Now whenever I watch Aliens, I have to watch Alien at the same time. I have to watch them. I have to watch them together. So
at the same time,
I do like both of them, but I enjoy watching Aliens. I love watching Hicks, and I love watching Hudson, and I love watching Vasquez, and I love Ripley, and I love Apone, and even Frost. I love Frost, and Bishop with his knife tricks, and I love that. I just love there's so many scenes in that film, and then whereas it's just very iconic. So that's why I love it for those iconic scenes that Aliens gave us.
Just in case, again, I think most people are dropping out now because if there are new people to the channel, on my YouTube homepage on the playlist tab, I do have a playlist of Alien Predator content. And there is an episode that me and you did a Predator episode, not a podcast, but a shorter video. And what I'm going to do let's do this as a finale. I did a great video with my brother too on his Aliens collection because his collection is pretty impressive as well. So I'm going to outro with some of his movie quotes, right? So this is one day of filming with my brother. And I don't know, you guys can try to keep track of all the movie quotes that he gave me in one day. You ready for this, Mark? Let's see if you can quote the movies.
Resistance is futile. Yes.
Beam me up, Scotty, even though he never really said that.
Pick up Ripley. And Drake, we are leaving. Hicks. Oh yeah. Let me introduce you to a very personal friend of mine, the M41A pulse rifle with under and over 30mm grenade launcher.
Well, your suspicions were correct, Mr. Data.
Mini-me. I shall call him Mini-me.
We will vanquish these interlopers.
One of these.
Yeah, so that's what one day looks like with my brother. So he's just non-stop.
Yeah, but he was
Non-stop.
excited in his room. Of course, he's going to quote everything.
All right.
Good on him.
Well, we're going to wrap it up again. Thank you to any newbies who showed up today. We appreciate it. And if you guys enjoy this chat, obviously the podcast is available on Spotify. We haven't done any other Alien episodes. And moving forward, we do have planned to have some guests on. I've actually got to talk to you about that because I've got ideas. I've got ideas. I prefer the cosmic horror approach and the atmosphere of Alien more than the character writing and action. Also, the concept of the Xenomorph being just space ants is kind of lame.
It's bees,
not
man. And bees. These things ain't ants. That's a quote from the film.
All right. That's it.
All right.
We're going to wrap it. Thank you guys so much for hanging around, for interacting with the chat. Hopefully that was as enjoyable for you guys as it was for me. I'm going to re-listen to this, Mark, over the next 2 days while driving to work. I'm going to listen to this podcast because I think it's good stuff. Yeah. Australia. All right. You guys all have a great night, and we will see you next time. Say bye, Mark.
See you next time, peeps.